At this time, we're going to ask that all guests would please take their seats. Good morning, everyone. Commanding Officer of the Correction Academy, Warden Penny L. Jones, will now introduce the Class 01 Fiscal Year 2016.
Good morning, Mayor Bill de Blasio, Commissioner Joseph Pont, Acting First Deputy Commissioner Dina Simon, Chief of Department Martin Murphy, Deputy Commissioner Dr. Errol Toulon Jr., members of the dais, family, and friends. I am Warden Penny Jones, Commanding Officer of the Training Academy and Firearms and Tactics Unit. I now present to you 592 recruits, Class 01, Fiscal Year 2016.
Ladies and gentlemen, Class 01. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem sung by Correction Officer Evelina Gaines, then followed by the invocation.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the
Ladies and gentlemen, let us pray. In a cosmos full of variance and differences, it is intriguing to understand that opposites tend to attract. In order to have electrical polarity, there must be a negative pole and a positive pole where electrons flow through, which are currents in every electrical circuit. Somehow opposites produce great power. Righteousness cannot be glorified or verified without the presence of something evil. Like it or not, the unique differences and ideologies we all possess somehow create the beauty found in diversity. Winston Churchill writes, "No two on earth in all things can agree. All have some daring singularity." Another writer pens, "I have never in my life learned anything from any man who agreed with me." It is in these dichotomies that you find great usage and purpose. As we approach another year, the year of our Lord 2016, the proverbial old school confronts the new school with trends of thoughts and philosophies that are foreign one to another, but yet necessary in order to build the bridge of a generational rites of passage. As more and more of our seasoned veteran correction officers depart into the second half of their lives, the Folger key is passed down to these newly appointed correction officers who will preserve and continue a great legacy of correction professionals that consistently and relentlessly evolve into the boldest. The elephant in the room of policy and reform challenged us to agree to disagree, but yet in the end, something magnanimous occurs outside the realms of human comprehension. It is evident that something great occurs through the rough terrains that lead to agreement. Former President Jimmy Carter stated that unless both sides win, no agreement can be permanent. Scripture asks the question, can two walk together except they be agreed? It is the power of agreement birthed through painstaking process that will take us not only to another level, but another dimension in correction history. The old school and the new school, the old generation, the new generation, the old corrections and the new corrections, all can agree on one thing. Without you, there would be no me. In the spirit of agreement, that the power of God rest, rule, and abide with us all. In his name is my prayer. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Come on, put your hands together one more time, everybody. Class 01, fiscal year 2016. We're asking that you would now pay your attention to the screen for a video presentation. At this time, I'd like to present to you a day in the life of a New York City correction officer by Officer Nishan McCall.
I love my job. I've been doing it for 10 years. It's not glamorous by any means, but it's essential in keeping New York City safe. Vega, how you feeling today?
1, 2.
What's your name? Let's go.
Right here, yo.
Come on, man. Relax.
Good afternoon.
First name?
John.
Turn the track
Bedford?
all up in my ears. The mic is loud, but the music ain't loud. Yeah. Yeah. Now the mic is low now. This is all the way out. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's what the wild out.
Tell me, are you bold enough to be New York's boldest?
Throughout your career at the Department of Correction, you will have the opportunity to serve the people of New York City in many ways. For example, ESU, K-9, fire safety, investigations. But no matter what you're called on to do, your job is to make sure that everyone who works or is housed in your area remains safe. Welcome to the boldest family.
Thank you, Officer Nishan McCall, for that awesome video. Let's give another round of applause for that wonderful presentation. Good morning, Mayor de Blasio, Commissioner Pont, Acting First Deputy Commissioner Simon, Chief of Department Murphy, graduates, family, and friends. I am Bishop Eric P. Brown. It is my pleasure to serve as your Master of Ceremonies for today's event. I will now introduce our dais. Please hold your applause until the introductions are complete. Mayor Bill de Blasio, Commissioner Joseph Pont, Acting First Deputy Commissioner Dina Simon, Chief of Department Martin J. Murphy, and the rest of our distinguished dais guests. Come on, put your hands together for our dais. It is my pleasure to welcome to the podium the Acting First Deputy Commissioner of the New York City Department of Correction, Dina Simon.
Good morning. Today I have the privilege of honoring the graduates and your family. Largest recruit class in DOC's history. Over 3,000 applicants went through our rigorous process. You deserve your seat. We started with 636, and 592 of you made it through the 16 weeks of training and are here today. Give yourselves a round of applause. Families, give your sons, daughters, and loved ones a round of applause. You are the future of DOC. You hail from all parts of our great city. Over 50 of you are former military members. Over 100 are already public servants. I grew up in Brooklyn and attended public schools. I have been a public servant my entire career. My motivation were things I experienced growing up in the late 80s, the crack era, where I did not have a voice. Being afraid of going to school because you might get jumped by the Decepticons or the Deceptionettes, remember them? Getting to school and not having enough books. I wanted to make a difference and have an impact in people's lives. It has been an honor to serve the people of New York City. Being a public servant is one of the most rewarding careers. At this pivotal time in law enforcement, you are at the forefront. You are here to make a difference. Your generation will be the ones we talk about in the history books. Next week, you're going into the jails as correction officers, public servants, mentors, and teachers, protecting the city by keeping the criminals off the street and caring for the inmates in your care. As future leaders, we are expecting you to help us make DOC the leading law enforcement agency in the country. Someone sent me a quote this morning, and I thought it was fitting to share it with you and everyone here. It's the magical partnership of the person with their head in the clouds and the person with their feet on the ground that creates progress. Thanks for your dedication and vigilance. No one supports the work and the goals of the Department of Correction more than our next guest. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio.
Thank you very much, Deputy Commissioner. And good morning, graduates. Come on, graduates. Good morning, graduates. Good morning, sir. There we go. There we go. We are very, very proud of you today. But I think you need to once again understand what it means to your families that you have reached this point, that you worked so hard, and we know you worked so hard for this day. And I know you feel a lot of pride, and you deserve to feel a lot of pride, but I can tell you, I think your families are probably bursting with pride. So families, let's hear it one more time. Let's really give them the love and the appreciation. I was proud to address you in August as you first answered the call to duty as you embarked on this training. And everyone made clear the training wasn't easy. It was not for the timid. It was for the bold. It was for the strong. And I can say today I am even prouder to be with you now because you have run the race and you have shown what you are made of. And there are now 592 new members of New York's boldest, and that is a great thing for New York City. And I want to also commend the 70 newly promoted civilian and uniform members. Congratulations on your hard work and your accomplishment today. To all of you graduating today, to all of you about to take the oath, you comprise the largest academy class in this department's entire history. And we need you, and you couldn't be here a moment too soon. This is a historic moment, and you are making that history. Again, I know it was not easy. I know there was studying, there was exams, there was all the training, all the challenges, but that's what it had to be to prepare you for the rigors of what you face up ahead. You are joining the ranks of a department that is changing, a department that is reaching high. As the Deputy Commissioner said, a department that is in the process of making history as it reaches the highest level it ever has attained. This will not be easy. This will take months and, in fact, years of work. But you are joining at a powerful moment, and you will be agents of positive change. And that is something to be very, very proud of. I want to thank the leadership with us today, Commissioner Pont and Chief of Department Murphy. I want to thank the Commanding Officer of the Academy, Warden Penny Jones. Of course, I want to thank Bishop Eric Brown for his powerful words. The leaders of labor here today, Norman Seabrook of COBA, Deputy Warden Helena Smith, representing the Assistant Deputy Wardens and Deputy Wardens Association, Joseph Faramusca, representing the Corrections Captains Association. We thank all of you and all the other leaders of this agency present. People are here today with excitement for what you will create and what you will do. It's an extraordinary class. 377 men, 215 women hailing from every neighborhood of this city. You share some things in common. Despite all the different places you come from, there's a common thread. You're answering the call of duty. You understand that the work of correction requires grit, requires strength. You got to be tough. At the same time, at the very same time, you have to be compassionate, you have to be patient, you have to be mindful. That is a very challenging balance to strike, but it's one that great public servants can strike and will strike. And that's what we believe you will achieve. Now, people in this class have come from lots of different career paths and educational paths. We have folks here with associate's degrees, we have folks with bachelor's degrees, we have folks with master's degrees, we even have a PhD in this class. extraordinary backgrounds, extraordinary talent and skill that people are bringing. We have 57, as you heard, 57 members of this class who served our nation in the military, and we should thank them right now one more time for all they have done. We have 116 who have already served this city in other capacities who are true public servants now elevating to this work. Let's thank all of those who have served the city before. And here is a powerful fact. We have more than 120 members of this class who are following in the footsteps of family members who have been on the jobs. That's a great tradition. We thank you for that. I want to give you one great example. Officer is about to be sworn in, Jamie Rosario, who grew up with corrections officers in her family. Her stepfather, retired corrections officer, shared with her the values it took to do this work, how important it was, how tough it was, but also all the promise and possibility of a career in correction. And her stepfather said, quote, if you can change the life of one person while you're working on this job, you will have changed the lives of many. Think about that for a minute. One person who you help to the right path. Think of all the multiplier effect. Think of what happens after. Think of what it means for that family of that person who's now been redeemed, that you help them get to the right path. That affects everyone else in their family. That affects their community. That affects everything they can do in their future, and it takes away something that could have been a negative. So it's not just that you take someone from making mistakes and doing harm, you can turn them to the positive and the productive, and then think of all the other people who benefit because you reach that one person. It's an extraordinary challenge, but it's an extraordinary blessing, too, to be able to have that level of impact. That's what you are embarking upon. So I mentioned Jamie, and Jamie set herself on this noble course, but she was not alone, because Jamie was accompanied by her mother, Mildred Santiago, who is also graduating today. Mother-daughter team. Officers Rosario and Santiago were at each other's side at every turn. They took the exam together, they entered the academy together, they studied together, they motivate each other. And they dreamed of doing something big and something bold. And in just a few minutes, when they take that oath, they will be proud to call themselves amongst the boldest. So that's just one example, and there are so many of people who made this choice for all the right reasons and are going to do great things on this job. Now, I'm very optimistic. I don't think we make change without optimism. But we have to be blunt, and we have to be real about the past, and the past that we have to move beyond, because the past was not what it should have been. We know for too many years Rikers Island was a dehumanizing place for the people who work there and for the inmates alike. We know over years there was too much violence. We know there's still violence to be contained. We know there's changes to be made. We know we need a culture change. And we know that these realities, the physical realities, have to change, but the physical reality can only change with a different mindset, a different culture, with a new set of dynamic members of this department. You will be the difference makers. You will be the agents of that change. You will be the people who realize the possibilities that previously weren't reached. We're going to invest a lot in you. We already have in this process, the way we recruited and selected you, screened you, trained you. All of the things you've experienced so far reflect a new era of investment in the Department of Correction. And we're going to be investing a lot more going forward to ensure your safety, to ensure your effectiveness. We've got to rewrite the story of Rikers Island. We simply have to. And you will be the authors of that new history. It must be a history in which we rehabilitate people, in which we create hope again for what can be on Rikers Island. Now, you will have the support of this department. You will have the support of my entire administration. You will have my personal support as you do this work, because we value you and we value the work you are doing. Those are not words. I want you to know that, because sometimes when you hear someone in leadership talking about their values, their goals, you say, well, show me something. Show me something to back that up. What have we done to back that up? We have invested $200 million in additional staffing, in new equipment, new training, new technology, better repairs and capital investments at Rikers Island. All of these investments to change the reality. That work's already begun, and it's making a difference. I'm very proud to tell you something, and this is the first time I think we're talking about some of these new developments. I'm proud to announce that this year we've seen an 11% reduction in serious assaults on corrections staff and a 6% drop in assaults resulting in minor injuries. It's a beginning. We have a lot to do, but something is changing. In the past, only 20% of the facilities of this agency on Rikers Island had security camera coverage. By the end of next year, 100% security camera coverage will be available in all the facilities. These are fundamental changes. The training you received is different because it focuses on some of the things that you'll deal with that didn't go addressed sufficiently in the past. We know almost 40% of the population of Rikers Island is folks with mental health issues. Now, we're doing a lot to try and change that at the root. We just announced a very aggressive new mental health policy for this city that over years I think will take a lot of people and keep them from ever ending up on Rikers Island. But for those who do have these challenges and become inmates, you will have the specialized training that previous generations didn't have in how to deal with those realities, the techniques, the tactical responses that can help to keep you safe and everyone safe. And we know it's making a difference. The training is already making officers and inmates safer because the most serious use of force is down 17%. And that shows that something is beginning to take hold. $51 million has been committed for additional staffing. Our goal that we're well on the way to is hiring 1,800 new officers over the next year, which includes this class. What does 1,800 new officers mean? It means a better ratio of officers to inmates. It's one of the most fundamental things that can be done to protect you. A better ratio of officers to inmates that creates safer shifts and a safer environment overall. That's what we're investing in. That is a crucial part of the $200 million. So we have your back. We will make the investments. We will continue to focus. But we ask, in fact, we need something in return. We need you to be the best you can be. And I don't just mean that as an idle phrase. We need you to take very, very seriously your generational role as change agents. We need you to honor that uniform. People are so proud of you today that you have put on that uniform. We need you to honor it every day. We need you to be an example of all the good that can come from this work. We need you to make us proud every day. And we will be by your side. You'll keep our jails secure. You'll help our city to be safer. You'll know that you are role models. You're role models to the people of the city, to the young people of the city, looking for what their futures will be. And honestly, you will be role models to a number of people who end up in correctional facilities because their life went wrong, but you can often get their life back on the right track by your example. You will be a role model that changes people's lives by your very example. And it's going to mean so much to this city. I remind you, before I issue the oath of office, something that we don't think about enough. Long ago, the phrase was determined, the Department of Correction. That wasn't something that was meant just to be a word. It was meant to be an idea to live by, to correct the mistakes, to redeem, to turn people back on the right path. You can and will achieve that mission, and you will make us proud. It is now my honor to prepare to issue to you the oath of office. Please stand and raise your right hand.
Awesome cadence, beautiful presentation. Put your hands together for Class 01. Ladies and gentlemen, I now welcome to the podium the New York City Department of Correction Commissioner, Joseph Pond.
want to thank the mayor for his kind comments today and his continued support of our agency. Family, friends, distinguished guests, welcome you here at this graduation ceremony today. Academy recruits, congratulations. You know, it's been a long road. You know, I make daily rounds in our building, and our applicant recruitment unit is on the first floor. And many times I'd walk through there, probably about 4 months ago now, and ask, where's our status? How many applicants have been cleared? We actually had bets with some of the captains down there of where we were at and what we would end up at a number. Our first try was 400 and I believe 30 or 40, and we all committed that, one, that wasn't enough. We needed to run classes of 600. Our applicant investigation unit under the leadership of Dr. Johnson produced 624, I believe, Doctor? 626 ready for training. That's just a great work, exceeded by double anything probably any of us thought we could do at the time. So it really is great work, great recovery in an organization who's struggled over time. Meaning that one of the criticisms we've borne over the last year is our selection, screening, and hiring, both in the numbers and the quality. Dr. Johnson has led the way where all those questions have been answered, and the quality of his work is the staff sitting out here in front of me today. I want to talk a little bit about the status of the organization, kind of where we're at. You know, we're in enormous change, but when we look at New York City and the change that we're going through, we're no different than any other large jail system in the country. That Cook County, third largest jail system in the country, was sued by the Department of Justice several years ago. They're under a consent decree. LA County, the largest jail system in the country, was just in the process of negotiating their plea agreement with the Department of Justice. Kind of where we are today in looking at the status of our agency and the need for change. When I arrived here, one of the first things I did was to look at what plans did we have? What plans did the agency have? What did we present to city government, city hall, city council, Board of Corrections? What was the strategic plan given the challenges that we were facing? Basically, I found no long-term plans. There were no plans to meet the staffing needs, the staff here today. There were no plans to meet the physical plant needs that many of our jails have enormous challenges in the physical plants, both from safety issues to basic hygiene and sanitation issues. I know many of you today, or here today, and many of our staff are concerned about change. They're nervous. They don't see where are we going? What's this reforms? How is this going to lead us, and how is this going to change? You know, we have on the table today a 14-point plan that addresses the overall system needs of the New York City Department of Corrections. Not one thing, not a couple things, not kind of picking out, oh, I want to work on this. It's overall, systematically, how this organization's been ignored probably for 10 or 15 years, a plan to address many of the deficiencies. So we're at a crossroads now. We're at the point where we have, I think as Reverend Brown said, we have the old school staff that have been with us for a while, and we have an enormous influx of new officers. So we are now formulating what's the new direction of the agency. So we have some of the old school that, you know, they like to take the familiar road. They know the system, they grew up in the system. Even though through their hard work, the results we were getting in performance was continuing to be worse year by year. No fault of theirs, but continuing to get worse. We, in our reform agenda, put forth new concepts and new ideas that I believe will allow us to get back to the leading correctional organization as we should be in the country. That's my goal. That's why I'm here, and that's what our reforms say. It wasn't that long ago that the Department of Justice decided to undertake an investigation of our agency. So in 2012, for 2 years, they conducted an investigation of the New York City Department of Corrections as it pertained to management of adolescent inmates. This is some of the things that were in the Department of Justice report. They said that the Department of Corrections in New York City had a pattern and practice of conduct at Rikers that violates the constitutional rights of adolescent inmates. They also said it was a deep-seated culture of violence and is persuasive. They also said that there was significant evidence of unnecessary and excessive force. We can choose to believe, deny, offer excuses of why the Department of Justice said that after a 2-year investigation. I remind you, the 2-year investigation was 2012 and 2013. So in April of 2014, when I arrived, there had been no plans on how to address any of these concerns that were highlighted in the Department of Justice investigation. We put that plan in motion in April of 2014 and made significant progress, which I'll talk about in a minute, at our RNDC facility where our adolescents are housed. So as we began to look at the agency, understand that there was substantial need for change. If you started in corrections 15 years ago and left and came back to what corrections is today, it is a much different organization. The rules, the laws, the Supreme Court decisions are all different today. The things that I did as an officer, I probably would have been terminated, fired, and charged with violations of constitutional law today. The rules are different. Expectations are different. The public expectation is much different. So when I came here, I like walking around. I toured all of our facilities. I hold focus groups with staff, even today, weekly, to get their opinions and thoughts on what we're doing and ideas on improvement. We wanted to bring everybody to the table as we developed our 14-point plan. We wanted to look at everything in the agency. The 14-point plan isn't my plan. I didn't sit down someplace and write it. We looked at the needs of the agency, we looked at the failings of the agency, and we sat down together and wrote this plan. We spent a long time holding open sessions with staff, talking about the plan, talking about where we were going and how we were moving the organization forward. We brought experts from other parts of the country. We had 4 other commissioners who are nationally recognized coming here to New York City to help us formulate this plan. We surveyed all of our staff to get their input on what was their concerns and needs that we had to address in order to pull this plan together. Obviously, as we made plans, they cost money. We took those plans to City Hall and the mayor's office and asked for funding. So our commitment to the reforms are substantial. We had support of City Hall, a commitment to make sure our staff had the things they need to do their job. Just to give you some sense on how deep and how far back some of these things go, I was in a focus group with officers at one of our facilities on Wednesday morning. I was talking with an officer with 15 years of service. We were talking about how the cells opened and closed in the cell blocks in that facility. For the 15 years that this officer was employed at that one facility, those cells have never been opened and closed as they were designed to have occur. We have been using the emergency release process to open and close cells on a daily basis for 15 years. Unaddressed, not repaired, that's the norm, not satisfactory, but that's the norm in our agency. It has to get better. So City Hall gave us, as the mayor's already stated, $200 million to get us started on our work. Our training has been much improved. This class, the training academy, which we put in 300 officers through on average, we now double that. And you guys have done just great work. I really appreciate your work. You've done beyond expectations, and I just want to give the training staff a round of applause. Great job, guys. Okay, so we've started the work, so we've started the reforms. There's been growing pains. It is not a single step that we look at, and it's not a single path forward. It's looking at trying good correctional practice, looking at how do we move our reforms forward, how do we do that in a way that's effective, giving our staff time to learn and adapt to these changes. But the work started. While no assault on staff is ever okay, our assaults on staff in 2015 are down by 7% from last fiscal year. Serious injuries to staff are down 14% from last year and down 44% this quarter from last quarter. But also I'd like to just talk about recent events. I know Norman Seabrook and other union officials, I myself have talked to the Bronx DA and outlines our needs here on Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections. What do we need from the courts? What do we need from the district attorney's office? So in January, we'll be getting a new district attorney in Bronx, and her name is Blasio Clark. And I just want to great, absolutely. So these are some of the things that she said in November. It is my Christmas wish. It is what we would all love to have. So she went on, and I'll just quote some of the things that she hopes to achieve in her term in office. She wants to have a collaboration, including joint investigative training with the Bronx DA's office, City Department of Corrections, Department of Investigations, Office of Inspector General, and the Department of Corrections and NYPD. Wants the creation of a Rikers Island task force in the Bronx District Attorney's office. She wants the assignment of an assistant Bronx District Attorney and other staff specifically facilitate real-time prosecution of Rikers cases. She wants a reduction and the ultimate elimination of case backlogs in the District Attorney's office. And she's demanding that our criminal court system allot appropriate and sufficient resources to the Bronx. She also goes on to say, and this is the best part of these new release, is that I will demand and expect that my office will be prepared to achieve real-time prosecution to every case possible, and I look forward to working with all stakeholders to bring safety and the rule of law to Rikers Island. So, Ms. Clark, we welcome you and we welcome your intervention. Thank you. So in cases where we've taken all the things in our reform agenda and applied them specifically, where we've increased staff ratios, we applied field training captains at 10 in a facility. For those of you who have some history with us, we used to have field training captains. All those positions were eliminated over time. So we're putting that prospect back in and imposing those captains in places where we're making substantial change. We've added substantial more programs. We've improved the physical plant, the infrastructure, the cell blocks, the things that we just talked about. And in those cases, we are seeing dramatic improvements. We've addressed tough populations. We've addressed our mentally ill. One of the common themes that we talk about in corrections, the mayor mentioned it. None of us came into this business to run mental health hospitals, but in fact, on the East Coast, New York City Department of Corrections is probably the biggest mental health hospital on the East Coast, and the LA County Jail, the biggest mental health hospital on the West Coast. In 2 weeks' time, we're going to have the staff from the LA County Jail and Cook County jails here in New York City to collaborate on the work that they've done and we've done to use our best practices, put our heads together, and decide how to move forward. Just a couple things on our programming piece. One was our mentally ill inmates. Our CAPS program and PACE programs, led by Deputy Warden Gallagher, are probably nationally as good as any other place in the country. They have done great work and moved these programs, which were really concepts a year and a half ago, to functioning, safe operation for mentally ill inmates. We've established a sharp focus on short callers, influential inmates in our care, making sure that we manage them appropriately. High classification populations in our model facilities, GMDC and GRPC, to make sure they're managed in the best way possible. In these units where we've processed over 1,500 inmates through these different programs, we've seen substantial improvement in all violence, be it slashing, uses of force, in comparison to any other part of our agency. As everyone knows, we've ended punitive SEG for adolescents in our R&DC. Since I started, the assaults on staff in R&DC have been reduced by 32%, and use of forces have dropped by 11%. And I want to say about the plan. So it's not my plan, it's our collective plan. We don't get the work done, it's you guys that get the work done. I need you to understand that, one, this is a sound plan built on good correctional principles that in the long run will allow us to get where we need to get as an organization. We also have tired staff. We have staff working doubles and triples. Some cases, 4 out of 4 days, doubles. You, this class, will be for the first time real relief for our officers. We hope to achieve a 25% reduction in overtime dependence, which means 3,000 hours a day we will no longer be overworking our fine correction officers. I think it's a great statement, a lot of work by a lot of people to get us there. Just want to mention some of the leadership, some of the changes that we've made in our organization. You know, our adolescent facility, which was under the review of the Department of Justice, Acting Warden Glenn, Acting Chief Collins, both worked tirelessly to change that facility, to change the culture, and bring about something that we're proud of, something the Department of Justice agrees is a good fundamental practice in that facility. Officer Jody Carter Gordon, who runs the Rikers Rovers program. So she's training young offenders on how to do good animal cares to dogs that would be put to sleep if they hadn't been trained and made more adoptable. So part of it is teaching skills, but part of it is teaching care to our inmate population. Officer Calvin Soso, who's part of our Second Chance Unit, a new piece that we stood up in RNDC, who understands the importance of building relationships with inmates in order to get them turned around. GRBC, our model facility, under the leadership of Warden Augustus and Deputy Warden Caputo, has really shown how we can move this organization in a safe way, restoring the things that we need to, empowering our officers to do the job like they know they have to do. Captain Keisha Brown, who has helped the programming for the model units at GRBC, Captain Solomon Chester, who has been one of our fundamental training captains in that command, bringing about the change. Officer Jonathan Combo, who has been involved in all aspects of our model facility, and Officer Brian Padres, who has worked close with the maintenance staff to make sure that the physical plants are up to expectations. At OBCC, Captain Latonia Moreau, who has been involved in our ESU program since October 8, 2015, which really operates with our most dangerous and challenging inmates. And so on and on, we have people in our organization who have done tremendous work in this very challenging environment for all of us. I wanted to mention some of the things that's always difficult in law enforcement, always difficult in corrections. So we just took an oath this morning that we would honor the Constitution of the United States. We would honor the Constitution of the state of New York. That means that we don't get to select what rights people have. We don't get to select who is covered by those rights. That we're sworn to protect the rights of everyone. That's what the Constitution says. That's what the oath you just stated and swore to. And that's what the Department of Justice said about us a year ago. That's not what I want to be about. I know that's not what you guys want to be about. This is your real commitment to change. You can bring the pride back to the New York City Department of Correction. And this is what I want you to do here in this organization. I want you to do what is right, and not what is easy. Change and transform this agency. You, new coming in, will see things through a different set of eyes than the staff who are there every day. Don't sit quietly by. Let's return the New York City Department of Corrections to its place as a leader in the country. That's where we belong. I know that's where everybody wants to be. I think taking the oath today that you, this class, steps in at a time of tremendous change, but also at a time of great need. You will provide the leadership of this agency. You are the future leaders of this agency. We are depending on you to come in to this organization and do the right thing. You have my continued support to make sure you have all the things you need to do your job. And every day, your safety is our highest priority. So I want to thank you for the work you've done over the weeks of training. I know it wasn't easy. You guys have done a lot of good work. Congratulations. Godspeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Pont. Can you put your hands together one more time for the New York City Department of Correction Commissioner? Correction Officer Francis Donnelly is the class valedictorian. Officer Donnelly attained an overall average of 96.8%. Officer Donnelly will be given a gold arm braid by the Correction Academy Commanding Officer Warden Penny L. Jones. This braid admits him into the Valedictorian Honor Society, and it is a symbol of training excellence. Will Officer Donnelly please present yourself on stage?
Good morning, Honorable Mayor Bill de Blasio, Commissioner Joseph Pont, Acting First Deputy Commissioner Dina Simon, Chief of the Department Martin Murphy, Commanding Officer Warden Penny L. Jones, other members of the dais, fellow officers, family, and friends. I am Francis Donnelly, and it is an honor to stand before you as a valedictorian of Class 01, fiscal year 2016. I would like to thank my mom, dad, and sister for always believing in me and motivating me to do my absolute best. I would like to thank my company commanders, Captain J. Payton and Officer P. Taylor, as well as the entire Correction Academy staff for putting up with all my what-ifs. Thanks to Company F for believing in me, despite the long road ahead. Company F truly stands for family. On August 6, 2015, we came together as strangers and have since formed into a collaborative family. After 16 weeks, we are officially part of the boldest. We've witnessed many joyous moments, such as passing our first 3 exams, thinking how cool we looked once we got our patches, now finally getting our shields, and now we are here graduating from the toughest academy experience of our lives. While we experienced all these joyous moments, there are also moments that made us doubt the road ahead. These moments were moments such as getting sprayed with OC and enduring the 8 hours of pain thereafter. It wasn't bad enough my face felt like it was on fire, but I almost suffocated myself in the iron station. Despite all of this, we still believed in the promise of tomorrow. We will arrive at many more monumental points in our career. Some of us in this battalion will become captains, assistant deputy wardens, wardens, and chiefs. As I stand before you today, I'm pretty nervous, but I don't think anything will ever compare to how excited I am to start my career on Rikers Island. I look forward to taking that newfound enthusiasm with me every day for the next 22 and a half years, and hope that my fellow brothers and sisters in blue will take it with them as well. Special thanks to Captain Lomas for instilling in me the confidence to become one of New York City's boldest. To the Firearms and Tactics Unit, the Applicant Investigations Unit, COBRA President Norman Seabrook, and the entire Executive Board, we express our gratitude. In closing, we not only have the ability, but the responsibility to assure that the individuals in our charge are provided with care, custody, and control. We must never forget we are human, and as humans, we dream. And when we dream of things such as freedom, family, and a proper home. With these things done, hopefully we can make the world a better place. Remember, in the words of Captain Lomas, keep the main thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Donnelly. Correction Officer Stacy Hips is the class salutatorian with an average of 96.7%. Will Officer Hips please present yourself on the stage? Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you the President of the Correction Officers Benevolent Association, who comes in the person of Norman Seabrook.
This afternoon now. Good afternoon, everyone. God bless you. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, you and your family and your loved ones. You know, I don't write speeches. I tell what's on my heart that God gives to me to say. You're entitled to your own opinion, but you are not entitled to your own facts. My job is to keep you safe by any means necessary. My job is to make sure that when you go to work, you come home the same way. My job is to make sure that you are not attacked, that you are not slashed, that you don't have urine and feces thrown on you, that you are not spit on, that you are not abused. My job is to make those things come together. Now, some of you may have your opinions of me, but God is good to me. You feel me? God is good to me. When Officer Calderon was attacked and received 23 stitches to his face, That was a shame. He was almost murdered. But he's here with us now. And Officer Calderon, stand up, brother. Where you at? Give that brother some love. Give him some love. Give him some love. No, give him some love. That's our brother over there. He didn't get bitter. He didn't get bitter. We didn't run in there and use excessive force. I don't want you to go to work and kick people in the head. I don't want you to go to work and treat people the way that they are trying to treat you. I want you to treat them better because they're human beings. They are our brothers and sisters. I don't care so much about the 14-point plan, except for number one on the plan, your safety. That's all I want to talk about is your safety. I don't want to talk about nothing else right now. I want to talk about what do I do with that inmate that slashed his face? Where do I put that inmate that cut this officer in his face? I don't want to hear about closing CPSU. I don't want to hear about he's 17 years old, his mind isn't developed. His mind was developed when he cut him in the face. His mind was developed when he shot that 5-year-old in the head to get him in jail. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about what we're supposed to do. We have a job to do. We're going to do our job. But they have a job to do too, and that's keeping us safe. We are entitled to the same safety, the same way that you see the people on this stage want to go home looking the same way they came to work. That's the same way we deserve to go home every single day. I don't want to talk about 14 points. I want to talk about our safety. I want to talk about going home to your child with 10 fingers instead of 9.5. I want to talk about going home to your child and have your child touch your face and not go, oh, mommy or daddy, what happened to your skin? Because you got hit with 190-degree water. I don't want to talk about, I want to talk about our safety and security. I understand people talk about, well, we all came together. I wasn't at that table. The union was not at that table. We have a right. We have a right to be at the table. We have a right to have our voices heard. We have a right to stand up for ourselves. Dr. King said, silence is betrayal. I will not betray you. I will fight for you. I will fight for your family. See, my phone number is easy. It's 646-302-5418. His is 311. You feel me? His is 311. Tell him your child deserves to be safe too. Your family deserves to be safe too. Oh, I know. I know at the end of the day, people are going to say, well, what did he have to do that for? Because this is my job. This is what I'm supposed to do. I see some of y'all moving around in a chair. I already got the memo. They told you don't clap. They told you don't say nothing. They told you make believe he's not even there. I'm good with that. You meet the same people on the way up as you can meet on the way down. I'm telling you, you do. We have a job to do. I want you to go to work every day, and I want you to treat those inmates with respect. But you're not going to get spit on. You're not going there to have urine and feces thrown in your mouth and have people that sit around and make policy and procedure that never walked in your shoes make a policy and procedure against you. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. We have work to do. And I don't have a problem working with the commissioner to get it done. But I want a commitment that we are not going to allow individuals that slash correction officers to get away from being in CPSU. You will not slash officers. I'm not talking about putting you in punitive segregation for smoking a cigarette. I don't care. I'm not talking about you flood your cell. I don't care. I'm not talking about you tore up the sheet. I don't care. I don't even care if they give them steak sandwiches and Kool-Aid every day for lunch. I don't care. But I care when you put your hands on my brothers and sisters. That's my problem. I can't allow that to happen. I heard the mayor say, violence is down 11%. You're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. I have a problem with the fact that he didn't even say, I have to leave. Would y'all excuse me for a minute? How dare you? You have to respect us the same way you want respect. You have to give respect. God is a good God. All the time. Every day. We have no choice. Commissioner, I want to work with you. But I want them to go home the same way you do every day, brother. That's all I want. That's all I want. I don't want that phone call. I don't want the phone call of an officer that had her jaw broken by an inmate. 2 days ago, some psycho went nuts in California, killed 14 innocent people. They were gunned down with law enforcement. Had that been New York, and they caught those two individuals, they'd have sent them to Rikers Island. We would have had to deal with those same two individuals that had no remorse for life. And my brother and sister officer would have been at jeopardy. All I need to know is that we're going to work together and we're going to make sure that if you slash an officer, if you stab an officer, if you break the jaw of an officer, you don't get a pass on that one. You don't get a pass on that. They got to be punished for it. I'm not talking about physically. I'm not talking about beat them down. No. Don't beat them. Put them in CPSU. Let him lock in 23 hours a day because obviously he doesn't feel that he needs to be in general population because he doesn't know how to act. There are inmates that are assaulted every day by inmates. What do I do with that inmate that's raising havoc on these other inmates? 97% of the inmates in the jail system come there and they do not give us a problem. It's that 3%. That 3% that belong to this gang or that gang, and they're just going ballistics. They're coming at us with everything that they have. And some of the managers say, we can't do nothing about it. Oh, that's not the answer. Well, then what you get paid the big bucks for if you don't have an answer for me? You better find an answer because we can't do that. You see, when we came here and took this job, we didn't take this job to get beat up. If you was on the corner of 111th Street and 3rd Avenue right now and somebody came up and doused you with urine and feces, you gonna smile at them? Oh, no, you're not. But we can't do that, and I get that. But where's the punishment? Where's the consequences? They don't even want to rearrest inmates anymore. I mean, he's trying. I get it. I'm not going to say he's not. But nothing's happening. There's a difference. When Darcel Clark comes into office in January and we have a new DA, we're going to have a new direction. We're going to support her and help her do whatever it is that needs to be done. But your job, I want you to be safe. Yeah, they say you're the future. They say old correction, new correction. No. It's still correction. I don't care what you call it. It's still corrections. Just because 7-cell moved to 8-cell, that didn't change from old to new. He's still a killer. He's still a rapist. He's still a murderer. I want y'all to be safe. You're supposed to receive vests before you go into the jail next week. If they think I'm going to sign off and just let them send y'all into jail without your protective equipment, they mistaken. I'm not doing that one. No, I can't live like that. I can't do that. Because if something happens to you, they're not knocking on your parents' door or your husband's door. They're not sitting with you when they have to sit in the first pew. I'm sitting there. Board members are sitting there. Delegates are sitting there. Members are sitting there. And your family's sitting there. You see, this job is very unique. You're out of sight, out of mind. Nobody wants to talk about the good correction officers do every day. Nobody wants to talk about when a correction officer cuts an inmate down and give them mouth to mouth and bring them back to life. No one wants to talk about a correction officer that hears an inmate talking on the phone and the inmate then says to his loved one, I'm going to hang up, I'm going to kill myself, I got to say goodbyes, and you help save his life. No one writes those stories. Tomorrow's headline in one of these papers is going to be, Seabrook said. All Seabrook said is, I want you to be safe. All Seabrook said is, I want you to go home the same way that you came to work. All Seabrook said is, I want you to go home like all of these people on the stage going to get to go home later on. That's how I want you to go home. I don't want you to be cut. I don't want you to be bruised. I don't want you to be assaulted, insulted, or anything else. No, we weren't at the table when they drafted the 14-point plan, and I'm not mad at them. It is what it is. Yes, things are changing. I get that. But reform is on both sides. You can't reform a system one-sided and expect us to go along with it. I can't do that one. Now, and I know some of you are saying, but Norm, you know, that's the way it is. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. So we're going to fight to make sure that we're at the table, to make sure that inmates are treated with dignity and respect, but I want the same dignity and respect for my brother and sister officers. That's all I want. And I see the little cluster right there. I get that. I'm good with that little cluster right there. He's sitting just like this, just like you said, Chief. But I'm going to tell you the same thing I told another officer one day. Officer said something to me. Said the chief said. I said, okay. I said, the only thing that the chief of the department can give you is a day off, a post, an award, and a gate 1 pass. He said, what does that mean? I said, the union gives you life insurance, dental, optical, prescription, variable supplement, hard bill, 3/4 bill. We give everything else, but we don't get that respect because I don't have stars. My star's up there. And when I get there, he's either going to say one or two things. He's going to say, Norm, you set it off, or Norm, you set it off. God is good. And I know. I got these checks that I'm going to give to these brothers here and sister, brother and sister, because they've completed what is very daunting task of being in an academy that has never housed this many correction officers before was a little bit difficult. But we worked together. And I got, when I said to the commissioner, no, we can't do, he made it happen. 3 tours, he did it. It's not all bad about the man. I just want us to be safe. But it's not all bad about him. Personally, nice guy. He is. I just want us to be safe. I don't want us being assaulted. And if we can't avoid that assault, then put the inmate in an area in which he does not have the opportunity to assault us again. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for him to be stomped out. I understand the new use of force policy. I understand we have to be trained in it. I understand that the union went and lobbied Albany to get enough money to retrain 700 correction officers on integrity and how to act towards people, what you can and cannot say. He agreed with it. I understand those things. But everyone in here needs to understand, your safety is our top priority. My name is Norman Seabrook, and I'm a New York City correction officer. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Norman Seabrook. Put your hands together for the valedictorian and the salutatorian. Great job, great job. Come on, all around the building. At this time, I'd like to welcome back to the podium the Commissioner, Joseph Pont, for special recognition and posthumous promotion recognition.
Morning again. This is both sad and really exceptional in our organization, something that we've never done, something that the PD's done probably for I don't know how many years, but obviously for quite some time. We'd like to take a moment to honor the memory of two members of service we lost this year, Deputy Warden Belinda Nix and Assistant Deputy Warden Rodney Bowden. We're a family here. We take the lives and safety of our officers very seriously. We care about one another. We care about Deputy Warden Nix and ADW Bowden and cherish them as members of our family, whom we lost this year. It's an honor to honor them in this promotion ceremony, and we have family members here today to honor them and present them with the award. To begin with, Deputy Warden Nix left us in September. She'll be deeply missed at the Brooklyn House by all of those who knew her in the Department of Corrections. Her family believes she watches over us still. She is our guardian angel and will always be in our memory. Deeply respected by officers and inmates alike, Belinda was the department's heartbeat and the mother to all. For nearly 3 decades, she selflessly served at one of New York's boldest. Hard work, determination, and integrity guided her through the ranks. Belinda was a rare person who could do it all. She knew what mattered most. A friend, a confidant, a mentor, doing a tough job, yet making time for make that job easier for those around her. We were the lucky ones to have known her. We were the ones Belinda chose to share her laughs, her smiles with in these jails. Through Belinda, we caught a glimpse of her true kindness. So today, Warden Scott.
Good afternoon, everyone. The first thing I want to say is that for the first time in the Department of Correction history, Belinda Nix was promoted posthumously to Deputy Warden. We shared Belinda as our family, our sister in blue, for 27 years, but I have with me today those that had a lifetime to share with Belinda Nix. I would like to introduce who's sharing the stage with us today. Rita Patrick, Belinda's sister. Janice Lewis, her sister. Keisha Nix. Joseph Patrick, Julio Lewis, Brian Patrick, and William Monroe. I would like to say to you all, it was a true pleasure. And I know that you all knew her very well and very different than we did. We only saw her correction side. But what I can tell you firsthand, it was a beautiful side. And I don't think that ever changes. So what we have is a thankful and a blessing. Also, I want to say, I believe in our class today, Belinda's leaving her legacy. Very happy to say we have Akila Patrick, Belinda's niece, is in our class. Darnell Gatson, her godson, is in our class. The legacy continues. I'm humbled to stand before you as her last commanding officer to work with her. She was great, an awesome lady, and it's a very proud and humbling moment to share this stage with her family. Again, thank you.
I'd always want to recognize that this event was a recommendation by Norman Seabrook, so I want to take credit for that. It's a great idea, and thank him for that. It's okay. So sadly, we have a second award, and this is for A.D.W. Bowden, somebody who was clearly loved by his family, friends, and colleagues. Always smiling, Rodney was a source of great compassion and humor for his fellow officers. Since the day he started in January 1996 on Rikers Island, A.D.W. Bowden maintained professionalism, dedication to all in his care. He had a reassuring sense of calm about him, always cool under pressure. Rodney spent the last 6 years at the Bronx Court Division, commanding the overnight shift with central booking. It is a work out of sight and out of mind for most New Yorkers, but a vital part of our criminal justice system. Rodney performed with the highest level of integrity. He truly was his brother's keeper, and it was widely known and frequently observed that Rodney took the time to personally check in on how his fellow staff were doing. To Rodney, family was everything, and we were family to him. When you leave this auditorium and take the proud place of the newest members of our boldest family, remember you are walking in the footsteps of Deputy Warden Belinda Nix and A.D.W. Rodney Bowden, people who looked and served in this organization in a proud, professional way. And we want to recognize Rodney this afternoon. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to say that after 28 years of service, this is a beautiful sight to see from this area here. Congratulations to all you that have taken a challenge. You're gonna do a great job. You're gonna have the protection you need, and all you have to do is to make sure that you protect yourself in these housing areas. But on another note, I am here today to speak about a sad moment in the life of a correction officer, and that of a correction captain. I never had the pleasure of meeting Captain Rodney Bowden. Yesterday I was entrusted with coming and speaking about Captain Bowden. And again, I had nothing to say. I didn't know the person. But once I reached out to his peers and those that he supervised, there was nothing else to be said than he was a great leader. He was an officer's captain. He had words of wisdom, and if you needed him, he was there for you. And that is what we look up to when we look up to greatness in any place. So it gives me great pleasure today to come here and present the family of Rodney Bowden. I want to present the wife, Lisa Stewart Bowden, and his sister, Renee Cosby. When I spoke with the officers, they said, who was Rodney Bowden? He said, he was a great family man. All that he looked forward to was, at the end of his tour, if he had to work a double, be allowed to leave at 7:45 so he could rush, pick up his daughter, drop her off in school, and come back to complete his tour. That is what great men and women are made of. So again, with a recognition, there's no great man or woman without a foundation of a great man or woman at home. So with that, I want to thank you all. I want to congratulate the family for being such a supportive system. And in this environment, you are going to need your family, so make sure that you reach out. And family members, make sure we support our officers in the field. Thank you.
Can we give Commissioner Pont, Norman Seabrook, Warden Becky Scott, and Assistant Deputy Warden Louis Matos a round of applause, please? And if the newly appointed officers can remain seated, and if the audience can stand on their feet for the posthumous promotion recognition of these people that died in the line of duty, could we rest on our feet and give them a round of applause for a job well done? Come on, everybody, put your hands together. You may be seated. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium the Chief of Department, Martin J. Murphy.
Good afternoon, everybody. Mayor de Blasio, Commissioner Pont, President Seabrook, Captain Fermasca, Dep Smith, graduates, family, and friends. I am Chief of Department Martin Murphy, and I am a New York City Correction Officer. It is an honor here to be speaking with you today. First and foremost, congratulations. Today is a day to celebrate. Make no mistake about it, there will be challenging days ahead, but we will celebrate today. We are here to celebrate you and the achievements that you have made that have gotten you to this point. We're also here to celebrate those sitting in the audience, friends, family, classmates, those who have supported you in those accomplishments, for they will be the ones that you lean on when those challenging days are at hand. You have joined the department at a time of profound change. Under Commissioner Pont's leadership, we are working to reestablish the New York City Department of Correction as a preeminent correctional institution in the nation, one that is laser-focused on increased safety, reduced violence, and having a better day for all. We will teach, coach, and mentor you and help you build your correction knowledge. What we do expect of you, however, is that you ask questions, be open and excited about increasing your correction knowledge base. As Chief of Department, I am fully committed to the success of every correction officer. No matter what rank or title we may have attained, every uniformed member of service is a correction officer. As part of that commitment, I'm going to ensure that we have, at a minimum, clear policies so that everyone knows what is expected of them, better training of all of our staff in order to execute the policy staff need to know how to perform their duties. Better equipment. To execute the task, to achieve the expectation, we must have the proper tools at our disposal. Not only do we need better equipment to effectively manage the inmate population, we also need better equipment to afford proper programming and services. We also need proper equipment so that we have a work environment that is conducive to getting the job done. You will soon be deployed to your facilities. From there, we will be looking to you to embrace and lead this culture change that is underway in our agency. Culture change does not happen easily. It does not happen overnight. And it does just not happen from the top or at the top. It happens when each and every member of the department commits to changing how they act. This change will be happening all around you in terms of how we keep out weapons and drugs, how we classify and house inmates, how we respond to incidents, and how we provide programming, all of which is part of the 14-point reform agenda. We are looking to you to be the future leaders of this department. You do not have to attain any rank above that of correction officer to be a leader. We are looking for people who are committed to changing the status quo and who are committed to using their mental energies and their superior motivational forces to effect change. I met some of you yesterday at RNDC when we were waiting to get through the gates. And there was a group of about 20 or so. And so just in general conversation, I asked a couple of the recruits, now correction officers, what did you think of the job so far? And one officer said with all the confidence in the world that it's okay, but we are the future leaders of this agency, and we are going to make this change happen. The second question I asked was if they had any pointers for me in my address to you today. And the second officer turned around and said, Chief, you'll be fine. We have faith in you. So it is now I who say that I have faith in you. God bless and have a happy holiday season.
Thank you, Chief Murphy. As we prepare to dismiss, we're going to ask that everyone would please clear the exit areas at this time. Please clear the exit area at this time so the officers, newly minted officers, can dismiss properly. Ladies and gentlemen, could you please rise for the benediction? Our benediction, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will rest on his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. In this holiday season, one writer writes, harmony is pure love, for love is complete agreement. As we leave this place but not his presence, may the peace of God rest, rule, and abide. In his name is my prayer, and let everyone say, amen. This concludes our ceremony. On behalf of Commissioner Pont, thank you for joining us today. Our personal congratulations to the newly assigned officers and their families. We hope that you would have a blessed holiday season. Enjoy the rest of your day and get home safely. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you please remain in your seats while the class of newly minted officers begin to depart. Ladies and gentlemen, consider yourselves dismissed.